Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Elden Ring and we're doing another build guide, and this one is the Devout Flame Reaper build. So this is going to be another one in my series of New Game Plus builds, so these are all going to be level 200 builds, and I'm demonstrating them on New Game Plus 2, so obviously if you use them on an earlier one like your first playthrough or even your first New Game Plus, you're going to deal more damage than you see me dealing here, just because the enemies are buffed in the more you go into New Game Plus, the more buffed the enemies get. But that being said, these builds are quite overpowered and or at least very, very powerful. I don't know if they quite make the descriptor for overpowered, but I think they work rather well, and of course I'm also making them themed wise. So this one is a Devout Flame Reaper build, so basically it's going to be a fire build that is going to focus primarily on, it's a quality/faith build, so strength, dexterity, and faith to make this build very powerful. And obviously we're making use of a dual Reaper setup, which I know a lot of people are a big fan of. And honestly, the more I use them, the more I grow to appreciate the Reapers. So let's just start off with the levels for this build. So as you can see, we're at level 200, and now obviously these are suggestion levels. I'm going to show you primary focus points, and you can kind of just tweak the levels how you wish, because maybe you want to swap out a talisman and save some points to make your faith higher or something like that. But this is a pretty quality build, so you're going to see we're spreading around the points a bit. So your most important ones for this build are going to be, like I said, your quality skills, so strength and dexterity. And so I have strength at 60 and dexterity at 65, and then faith, obviously we need to be as high as possible, so I have 60 for that. I haven't put any points into arcane. Intelligence we have 20, just so we have just the int requirement for a couple different things, and stuff, so you could take some points off that. It's not absolutely essential that you have 20 in faith. Endurance, it's nice to have the endurance a little bit higher, so that way if you want to roll around a bit, you can, and also you can wear heavier armor without fat rolling so much, and since I like to wear a little bit heavier armor, I like to have my endurance up a little bit, so we have it at 30 on here. Mind, we have it at 30 just because I do a bit of skilling and casting on this one, so I do like having my mind being a little bit higher, giving me some more points, but again, that's going to come down to personal preference. And then vigor, of course, is just going to give us more hit points, so I have it at 61. That's as high as I could get it, while still maintaining my dexterity and faith at the level that I have them at, and keeping the mind and endurance decently high. Like I said, this is a bit more of a quality build. It's not super specialized, but it does work really, really well. So that's your skill points there. Like I said, primary focus of strength, dexterity, and faith, and then everything else is kind of up to personal preference. For the items that make up this build, we're going to be dual wielding these Graves scythes, and I have the flame art on both of them. So I have a Black Flame Tornado with the fire affinity on them. So we're going to be going for maximum fire on here, and the Black Flame Tornado is the central point of this, so it's kind of a Black Flame Tornado build. But basically we're just going to be trying to deal as much fire damage as possible with these, and so when you have them upgraded like this to plus 25 with the Black Flame Tornado with the Flame Art affinity, they, for attribute scaling, scale with strength and dexterity for E and faith for C, so it's not the best scaling in the world, but it's triple, and so if you have points in all of those, they're still going to deal a lot of damage. Attributes required to use these aren't very high, just strength and dexterity. So pretty simple there. We're also going to want to have a seal so we can cast a couple incantations on this build. It's not a incantation primary build, that is an option with this build, but really we're just going to be using those buff incantations, so I just have the Erdtree seal on here. Whichever one you like using the best is going to be okay, but since this is a faith build and the Erdtree seal scales with an S rating for faith, I figure it's the one that I like going with the best. So you can see we have an incantation scaling of 273 for the Erdtree seal plus 10, so pretty solid one. And like I said, you can use this as a casting build. It's primarily a scythe build for me though. So those are our weapons that we use with this one. For our armor, we're going with a sort of Grim Reaper theme to it, and so I think the best combination is the Confessor Hood, the Knight's Cavalry armor, and then the Royal Remains gauntlets and greaves. So it gives it a pretty cool look while still also having pretty dang good stats, because honestly pretty solid defense abilities with this build here. For our talismans, we're going to start off with the Fire Scorpion Charm, which is going to raise our fire attack, but it also lowers our damage negation. I find that this one is one of the best trade-offs to go with, because while there are quite a few enemies that deal fire damage, it's one of the lower ones. Most enemies don't deal fire damage, so this one doesn't come in super common, for the needing the super high fire damage negation, but since we're doing a fire damage build, we're going to want that raising fire attack. Then the Ritual Sword Talisman is the second one I like to do. This one just raises your attack power when your hit points are at maximum, so this is going to be that first hit you know, while your HP is really high, or I guess if you're just good at not taking damage, this will give you a big boost to your attack power as long as your HP are at maximum. So like I said, I like treating it as a first hit type of thing because right away on the boss, I'll go in there and I'll just get a massive hit off of them. So that's why I like having the Ritual Sword Talisman on this build. Then we have our Rotten Winged Sword Insignia. This is one of my favorite ones for most dual wielding builds because it greatly raises your attack power with successive attacks. So the more you're hitting them with the weapons, it just stacks your attack power up to a pretty high level until you're dealing incredible damage. So as long as you can keep hitting the same enemy multiple times without them interrupting your streak by hitting you, you can deal incredible amounts of damage using this talisman. And then Millicent's Prosthesis does basically the same thing. It, first of all, gives you a boost to dexterity, so you get a little dexterity boost, which I like having, and it also raises the attack power with successive attacks. So it's going to be a lot like the Rotten Sword Talisman in that one, and they do stack against each other. So those are the talismans I like with this build. For the summoning ashes, even though I don't typically use them all that much when I have these more powerful builds, sometimes they are nice to have, and obviously the best one's going to be the Mimic Tier ashes. Good alternatives would be like Black Knife Tish, Dung Eater, stuff like that, you know, high level ones that are just going to be great help. I think Radahn Soldiers are pretty nice because they aggro your enemies, so they keep their attention off you. So there's a lot of ways you could go, but obviously the Mimic Tier is going to be great because now you just have 2 Devout Flame Reapers running around. Then for our Flask of Wondrous Physic, you're going to want to use the Flame Shrouding Cracked Tier, which temporarily boosts your fire attacks, and the Thorny Cracked Tier, which temporarily boosts successive attack power. So that's going to be another one that's going to give us a boost to successive attacks. So those all will stack against each other. Then for the couple incantations that I do have set up with this one, I have Flame Grant Me Strength. This one is going to be one that we just pop on beforehand. That gives us, I think it's a minute or 2. It might not be that much, but it's a decent amount where it just is going to boost our fire damage. Then we have Black Flame, which is an offensive incantation. Like I said, if you want to use this one as a casting build, you can. And then Black Flame's Protection, which is just going to help us as far as damage negation goes. So if you want to use it for defense, if you're using this build and you do run into an enemy that does fire damage, that's a good one to go with because it's going to help balance off that trade-off that we had with the Fire Scorpion Charm. So like I said, I think this one looks pretty cool as far as the dual Scythe build goes. It does have sort of a Grim Reaper look to it, but also sort of a knightly look to it because we're wearing plate armor. So that would be the fashion reasons why I chose these clothing options. None of them are essential. None of these items that I'm wearing clothing-wise give any particular boost or anything. I just thought that they were a good trade-off between protection, weight, and appearance. So that's why I chose these. But you could go with whatever you like the best. All right, and so when you're doing this, the process that I've got kind of mapped out is to drink your Physic, and then to go ahead and just cast Flame Grant Me Strength. And then you're ready to fight. So now you can either Power Stance your Scythes, which is obviously a powerful attack to go with. And you're going to deal a tremendous amount of damage with that. And obviously this is an early game boss, so not the all-around best display there, but still, as you can see, pretty dang powerful. So that's just Power Stancing it, but I also really like using the Black Flame Tornado. Now here for just a little bit more of a tough boss. So like I said, again, we're going to want to start off by planting the Flame Grant Me Strength, and then drinking our Physic, and then we're ready to attack. So you can see how much damage we're dealing is just insane. And obviously this isn't exactly the hardest boss in the game, but can be decently difficult. Oh man, I just love this build. Like I said, it's definitely not the fastest moving build in the game, but if you buff it the right way and you're playing with the right talismans and everything, it just stacks to an incredible level. Man, I did think I was gonna take out the dragon that fast. That's crazy. So here again, this time I don't even have my Physic. So I'm just going to be doing just the Flame Grant Me Strength, and we're going to go up against the Stone Digger Troll. Oh man, that's nice. Get the Roar Medallion. So like I said, if you want to do a really fun build, this one, I've been having more fun with this one than I know what to do with. And don't even get me started on using the Mimic Tier, because that just makes it insane. Because it's already just so ridiculously powerful. And the Scythes are a solid weapon. They are just really fun to use. They hit really well. They seem to bypass blocks a lot of the time. So fighting humanoid type enemies that will oftentimes that are, really good at blocking, the Scythes just handle them remarkably well. And even without using any of the power-ups like Flame Grant Me Strength or the Physic or anything like that, This is still obviously a build that's going to deal an incredible amount of damage, just because of the talismans we're using, the weapons, and the affinities and everything. So yeah, the Devout Flame Reaper build is one of my favorites that I've tried recently as far as a quality faith build goes. This one is just super fun to use. And like I said, since most enemies are susceptible to flame damage and not a ton of them deal flame damage, it's just a perfect balance. So yeah, that is the Devout Flame Reaper build. Hope you enjoyed it. But with all that in mind, thanks a ton for watching and have a nice day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.